Hello dear first year students, welcome to English classroom. I am S. Srikanth, Assistant Professor of English. So now that you have completed the 4 lessons under 4 units, it is time now for us to explore annotations, right? Annotations are very important exercise, especially in the examination standpoint. You understand? So what are annotations? I'll give you a brief introduction. Annotation is otherwise called as reference to context. One particular poetic line or one particular sentence from a lesson or a story, okay, that is prescribed in the syllabus. Okay, the sentence from the text especially, or from the detailed text, it will be picked up from a lesson, and your job is to identify from which lesson it is picked. So sentence can be picked very randomly, and it is your assignment duty to identify from which lesson it is taken or extracted. First you have to identify. For that you need to have full knowledge of all the lessons in your textbook from the detailed textbook, and not only that, you should be able to give its reference. Reference means who is the author of that line, from which book it is taken, who is the poet of that particular poetic line, and who is the poet. That is the first task. Annotation, you need to do 3 things. First is reference. First you have to identify. So we'll divide the task into 3 parts. Identification. Not only identification, you need to do little bit more. You need to do little bit. You need to give little bit more information about that particular sentence given. As your question. So first thing is the first part. Let us suppose this is A. A is reference, or you can also say introduction, wherein you identify the sentence and you give the straight away give identification. This particular sentence or this particular line from a particular poem, it's from particular lesson or a story, you have to write correct name. And not only that, who is the author or poet of that particular story or lesson, and your job is done. That is part 1. And the part A, and part B is the situation or context. Who spoke those words to whom, or why the author is suggesting that particular thing, why author is giving that statement. In what context or situation the author is saying that particular sentence, or if it is a story, why particular character is expressing that particular view. You need to give in which context. In the entire story, one line is picked, and your job is to why that particular story, in what context that is spoken, and it is spoken about which particular concept. And the third part of the assignment or this annotation is part C. What is that? Meaning. You simply give the literal meaning of it. In the context, you are given who has spoken to whom, in what context or what situation. Here in the meaning, what you do is you simply give the actual literal meaning. You will try to explain the meaning, or explanation or meaning, one and the same, right? So in the last point, of course, it is not mandatory. It is simply option. That is, finally, what you do is 3 things are very important: reference, or identify where it is located, who is the author. Second is context or situation. Third is you explain the meaning. Fourth is it is optional. That is comment. If at all you want to comment on why it is said and why the author has given that particular statement, and your own opinion you can give, your own comment, your own subjective comment, your personal comment you can make. You have that freedom, and that adds a lot of meaning to your annotation, right? So we have four lessons in this semester. First one is The Eyes Are Not Here, okay, which is a short story written by Ruskin Bond. And second one is Work Brings Solace, written by APJ Abdul Kalam, our former president of India. Third one is a poem written by Sarojini Naidu by name Bangle Sellers. And the fourth and the final lesson in our syllabus for this semester is a play by William Shakespeare, and we have only one extract of the play. What is the play? Merchant of Venice. And from that play, okay, it is taken from one particular act and one particular scene, and from all these four lessons, I picked one annotation each in order to give you some knowledge about how you should attempt the annotation, how you should know, identify a sentence or a line or a statement from your units, from your textual unit. So we are only doing annotation from the text, detailed text. Generally we don't do annotation from non-detailed text. Non-detail is simply remember the story, what are the characters, something little bit of introduction about the author or novelist, and you remember some essays. But here, with regard to the detailed text, you need to remember everything in detail. You need to analyze every sentence. You need to, okay, in a position to comment on anything, because you are reading the entire text with a reading in between, read between the lines, we say. That is otherwise called as close reading. So that's what is important with regard to a detailed text. So are you ready? So I taken one sample annotation from one lesson. So whenever any other sentence is okay given in the examination or anywhere, you should be in a position to follow the same for all the annotations. Almost same reference you write and same general context you write. Only you need to, your task is to write the meaning if the sentence is a different sentence from the text. And the comment is also almost the same, because in order to benefit you guys, okay, I have designed the reference, context and comment in a common way, which applies to any sentence taken from that particular poem or story or essay or any other lesson, right? So let's see from lesson 1. Okay, so this is the sentence which you can see on the screen in purple color, right? So this is the sentence. So because I have taken these annotations in a linear fashion, generally my first annotation would be from first lesson, second from second, third from the poem, fourth from Merchant of Venice. That's easier. But in the examinations, your task becomes much more tougher, because one annotation might come from in the entire text. There you need to identify that this is from the first lesson or second lesson, third lesson or fourth, right? Anyway, if you're thorough with the story and entire the storyline, the characters involved, you're thorough with the authors and poets of the given lessons or poems, then it will be easy, right? So anyway, we'll begin. The first sentence given is from the first lesson, of course. Well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. Okay. Do you understand? Do you get an idea from which lesson or story it is taken? Well, I'll tell you. The reference you need to tell. Reference. The above sentence is taken from the story The Eyes Are Not Here, which is a short story written by Ruskin Bond. The first part of story is reference. The above sentence is taken from Ruskin Bond's Eyes Are Not Here. Okay, you know that it's a story about two blind youngsters, one boy and one girl, who meet okay on a train journey, and the boy wants to play with the girl. He was very curious to know how she looked like, how was her hair, etc. Okay, so this sentence is spoken by whom? So reference you are given already. What is the lesson? In fact, it is a story, short story. Eyes Are Not Here. Who is the author? Ruskin Bond. Okay, first part is over. And what is the context? In which context? Who is saying to whom? Right? Can you guess? Okay. When the blind boy and the girl meet on the train journey, the boy and the girl meet on the train journey. Each one of them didn't know that the other is blind. The common condition is they didn't know that the other person is blind. And when she fails to notice his presence, he thinks like this. And when she boards the train at a station, actually the boy was traveling from Rohana to Missouri, and the girl it's a later stage at a later station, and he thought that she's a normal girl who can see. Okay, and in fact, she was surprised to listen to his voice. He asked her a question, and he was surprised to listen to his voice, and she was surprised that somebody is sitting there in the same compartment. And she asked the same question to the boy, and he thinks that even normal people cannot see right in front of them. They might think that they might be thinking about so many things in their mind, whereas the blind people, they only focus on what is there around, even if they do not see. Okay, meaning, so when she notices that somebody is there, and she expresses her surprise, and this blind boy, okay, says this sentence. Well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. Even ordinary people, they can't see what is right in front of them. Even blind people just move their feet, move their foot, and understand something is there. But when you can see, we don't notice what is there in front of you. Why? So what is the meaning? We explain the context. The blind boy, says this sentence, expresses to the girl. He didn't know that the girl was blind. Okay, meaning people who can see things clearly fail to see the things that are right in front of their eyes. Generally, ordinary people, they tend to see things right in front of them because they are preoccupied with so many things, because their all five senses are active. Okay, sometimes they are immersed in so many day-to-day things, and they forget to see what is right in front of them. They almost act like blind people, because why? They have so many things in their mind. This is the what we call thinking process, thought process, that was going on in the mind of a blind boy. Okay, now ordinary people, they don't see because they might, okay, be having an inner dialogue with so many things, because he think that there was a lot of clutter in his mind. That's why they don't see the things right in front of them. Comment: the story is an attempt to peep into the world of the blind and their emotions. What is the comment that we can make as a general observer? Who is a commentator? Two teams are playing, and you sit at the commentary box and comment. You are the third person who is giving the commentary. Just an external observer, what comment can you give? It can be personal or subjective. What is the comment? The story is, when you read the story, you get some ideas, some thoughts, some views. That is your comment. So comment is general. You can change these comments, but this comment is general for any sentence in the story, general for this story. The story is an attempt to peep into the world of the blind and their emotions. The author, through the story, peeping into the minds of the blind people, how what are the different emotions that come in the minds of the blind people. These are different emotions actually. Okay, this is a play of emotions between the people who are blind, right? So let's go to the lesson 2. As lesson 2, you understand what is the lesson, but in the examination, okay, you should be able to identify just by looking at the sentence from which lesson it is picked. So I'll read out the sentence given to you. Do not make rocketry your profession or your livelihood. Make it your religion, your mission. Don't make rocketry your profession or livelihood. Okay, make it your religion or mission. Rocketry should be like your mission, not your livelihood, not your profession. Who is saying this to whom? One thing, that is context, and from which lesson or which particular autobiography it is picked. That's a first task. Part A is reference or introduction, anything. Reference underline, and it is 2 colon marks is the way you put a subheading reference, the first part of the annotation. The above sentence is extracted from the lesson. Work brings solace. It's not solace, it is solace. Solace means comfort in distress. When you're failed in something and when you're not in a bad mood, somebody says a good news to you, that brings solace. Or somebody comes to you and tries to console you, say some good words to you, maybe your father, mother, or your close friend, then you get the solace, you get the comfort when you are distressed, right? So above sentence taken from, extracted from the lesson, work brings solace, from the book Wings of Fire. Okay, this is the name of the lesson, and that lesson is taken from Abdul Kalam's book Wings of Fire, written by Abdul Kalam, of course. Who is Abdul Kalam? The former president of India, and he was also popularly called as the missile man of India, and we call people's presidents, etc. He was a great person actually. He was really close to the students. He was a teacher by profession, that professor by profession, right? So what is the context? Who said to whom? The father of modern rocketry, Werner von Braun, advises Abdul Kalam on his visit to Tamba rocket launching station in Kerala. So in 1970s, Abdul Kalam undertook a project of developing SLVT project indigenously, and he was able to launch 4 satellites. First was a failure, second was partially failure, partially successful, like that. Finally was succeeded. And at the time, one famous scientist was, of course, the father of modern rocketry, we can say, from USA, from America, visits India. He goes to the airport and he receives him, and both of them travel back to Tambor rocket launching station. There they had a conversation. In the conversation, Werner von Braun, who was very, very receptive, very, very humble, very, very encouraging, says these words. How we should look at the project they are doing. Advice Abdul Kalam. Actually, Werner von Braun was from Germany. He is a German scientist, but after Second World War, he picked by America, and he also acted as the director of NASA, National Association of Space Agency, American agency, NASA, and he was the man instrumental for sending first man onto moon in a mission called Apollo mission. So such was the greatness of Werner von Braun, who was very humble, though he was the greatest scientist, but he was humble. He gives an advice to Abdul Kalam, on their journey from the airport to Tamba rocket launching station. That is the story in brief. But here you write only one sentence. What is that? The father of modern rocketry, Werner von Braun from USA, advises Abdul Kalam on his visit to Tamba rocket launching station in Kerala like this. Meaning, Mr. von Braun advises that great things like rocket launching can be achieved only when we are dedicated to the work religiously. Your project is humongous. You are in the mission of developing satellites in order to send, okay, into the sun, into the moon's Earth's orbit. So just by being professional, okay, does not work. You should not look at the work as your livelihood. You should look at the work as your religion. Okay, then only you will succeed. Don't look at the work that you have undertaken, okay, with some livelihood or profession. It should be looked upon like a mission. It should be your life's mission. You should dedicate yourself with a religious fervor or with a religiosity. Just like people are so much dedicated to religions, right? In the same way, you should have that religious dedication towards it. Then only you will succeed in sending satellites into Earth's orbit, okay, indigenously, right? Meaning, Mr. Von Braun advised that great things like, okay, this I have explained to you, great things like rocket launching can be achieved only when we are dedicated to the work religiously. It should be more than profession. It should be more than livelihood. It should be like a religious mission, you can say. Comment. Abdul Kalam urges the youth of India to dedicate themselves to work which gives them joy and comfort. Through this lesson, Abdul Kalam gives a message to the youth of India that they should dedicate to their work, and that work itself gives them comfort. Unless they have a mind which focus on a particular thing for a longer duration, they won't get into a flow state. Okay, they should be able to focus on a particular subject or topic for a longer duration, then things will work automatically. So they should dedicate to the work more than anything else. Then only they will achieve, okay, great things in their life. That is advice of Abdul Kalam to the youngsters. Right. Lesson 3. Some are purple and gold flecked grey for she who has journeyed through life midway. Okay, just by looking at the poetic lines, grey and midway, these two lines are rhymed. They have same rhyme. Okay, they are rhythmic. Okay, there is what do you call, rhyme pattern is there, right? So who is talking to whom, and which particular poem or text or story it is taken, these lines are taken, and what is the subject of the book. This we have to explore, right? Can you guess what is this lesson or poem? Yes, these lines are extracted from the poem Bangle Sellers. In fact, it is a poem penned by Sarojini Naidu, a famous poetess of India, who was popularly called as Nightingale of India. Okay, she was a great freedom fighter and first women president of Indian National Congress, and she was a close associate of Gandhiji, and she was a great politician and orator. She was called as Nightingale of India. So in this poem, she is speaking like this: some are purple. So bangle seller, generally you remember, bangle sellers are selling their bangles for different occasions. So what are these bangles and which stage of a woman's life? Which stage of a woman's life, right? Context: while showcasing different colored bangles for women for different occasions, the bangle sellers recommend bangles for elderly women as under. As said in these two lines, bangle sellers are recommending suitable bangles for elderly women. That is these are the two lines. So they are the bangle sellers. They have multicolored bangles for different occasions. They have bangles for first innocent girls. Okay, silver color and light green color bangles, and for a bride on her marriage day they have bangles, okay, red and yellow colored bangles, and they have different significance. And for the third stage of the woman, they have these bangles, purple and grey colored bangles, gold flecked grey colored bangles for middle-aged women, right? So they have three different bangles for three different stages of a woman's life. So here they are talking, the bangle sellers are talking about, okay, the third stage of women's life, and they are kind of comparing women's life and achievements through these colors, okay, of the bangles that they possess with them. So they are in fact trying to sell the bangles at a temple fair. So context: while showcasing different colored bangles for women for different occasions, the bangle sellers recommend bangles for elderly women as under. So they are recommending these bangles to the elderly women. So what is the significance of these bangles? We'll see. Meaning. What is the meaning of those two lines? Purple and grey color bangles are suited for middle-aged women. The bangle sellers saying that they have purple and green color bangles which are suitable for middle-aged women or elderly women. That means women of about the age 50 or 50 above, whose children are grown up, who the women has all the maturity and all the wisdom to guide her children with a lot of care and dedication. She brought up her children. So what is the color of bangle they should be wearing? Purple and grey. So what is the significance of purple and grey? Here we have an explanation. They signify, purple color signifies a sense of pride and satisfaction. Okay, they have little bit pride because she was successful enough in bringing up her children and make them responsible citizens of the country. So there is a sense of pride and satisfaction. Okay, also a sense of accomplishment, achievement. Okay, gray color, they have a sense of it. The gray color signifies sense of achievement, and also they represent the qualities of a faithful wife and a faithful wife and a loving mother, right? So what is it? So she is a loving mother to her children, and she was also faithful to her husband. She was all the time she stood by her husband in the roller coaster life of their journey of their life. So that's why she was faithful, and she was also a loving mother. She was faithful to her husband, okay, in the thick and thin ups and downs of the life, and also she was a loving mother to her children. So these are the colors. This is the meaning. Comment. So what is the general comment we can make on this poem? Sarojini Naidu celebrates women, okay, had through colorful women's life through colorful bangles and the role of bangles in the traditional setup of India. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so Sarojini Naidu celebrate women's life through colorful bangles and the role of bangles in the traditional Indian setup. So this is the comment. So let's move on to lesson 4. Okay. So here a character is speaking. What is the name of the character? Portia. Why this bond is forfeit and lawfully, by this the Jew may claim a pound of flesh to be by him cut off. So generally where characters occur, generally in plays. So what is the play? This particular expression is taken from. This expression, this sentence is spoken by Portia. Who is Portia? From which play this particular character occur? So that's our task now. So reference, these lines are taken from the play The Merchant of Venice, written by William Shakespeare. And if you are if you can remember, you can also write it is taken from Act 4 Scene 1. So these particulars sentence or expression is taken from Merchant of Venice. What is the context? Portia is speaking. So in what context or situation she is speaking? Portia examines the bond disguised as a lawyer. Portia is a young lady, and she comes to the court in Venice, and Duke is the ruler of that city, Venice, and she disguised Though she was a lady, she comes dressed as a lawyer. Okay, she dressed as a male. Okay, dressed as a man and comes to the court, and she examines as the legal expert. He comes to the court and examines the bond means the bond paper where terms and conditions are written in the court, and says a lender. What is the story, can you remember? So this greedy money lender, Jewish money lender, lends 3,000 ducats to a person called Bassanio, and Bassanio wants to marry Portia from other city, Belmont from other city, and Antonio is the person, a Venetian merchant. That means a merchant from Venice who acts as the guarantor. According to the terms and conditions of the bond, the moneylender, or who is that, Shylock, keeps two conditions. The first condition, that amount of money should be returned in 6 months. If he fails to return the money in 6 months, the money lender, that is Shylock, is entitled to take 1 pound of flesh from his body. Okay, that is the condition. So Portia comes to the court dressed as a man and as a legal expert and examines the bond, and she says like this: why this bond is forfeit? And lawfully, by this the Jew may claim a pound of flesh to be by him the cut off. Everything should be followed in letter, whatever is written on the bond. Every term and condition should be fulfilled. He is by all means entitled to take the flesh from the body of Antonio. That's our version. So I'll come to that. I'll give you a little bit clarity after completing this. What is the meaning? According to the bond, Shylock, the Jewish moneylender, was entitled to take a pound of flesh from Antonio's body as he failed to repay the debt. So she gives her kind of her take, her opinion, her judgment kind of thing, being a legal expert. Okay, by all means he can take the flesh because he failed to repay the debt, that 3,000 ducats. Ducat means currency. Comment: that's a clever ploy employed by Portia to trap Shylock. What is the clever ploy? It's a clever idea because everybody knows that the moneylender is very, very greedy and he has evil intentions towards Antonio. He wants to take revenge on him because Antonio was always speaking against him because the moneylender was taking high rate of interest from innocent people. That's why Shylock wants to take revenge on him. That's why when the situation comes, he tries to implicate him in the situation. If he fails to return 3,000 ducats in the span of 6 months, he is entitled to take flesh of 1 pound from his body. But immediately after saying this, she also gives clarity that he can take flesh from his body, from any part of, from heart region, any region, but he should not spill even a single drop of blood. Is it possible? No. So immediately understands. The greedy moneylender understands and he knows that he was trapped. He cannot take flesh without spilling a single drop of blood. So he expresses him immediately and he readily wants to take those 3,000 ducats. In fact, in the beginning they offer 6,000 ducats, but immediately asks for 6,000 ducats, but they deny because when chance is given, he did not utilize that chance. Okay, then she says that what did he say? What did he say? In fact, he was trying to kill him. What is the punishment of killing a person according to law of the land? He should forego his property. Half of the property would go to the state means that city, and half that country, and half to his own daughter. Okay. So these are the conditions again. So that's how the cunning nature of the greedy moneylender was defeated by the clever Portia. So this is taken from Merchant of Venice. written by a famous play written by William Shakespeare, one of the greatest playwrights of English literature. So these are the four what do you call reference to context or annotations from your textbook, lesson 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope you have followed and enjoyed listening to this video. So let us meet again in my next video, and you should not forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon for my upcoming videos. Let us meet again in my next video. Until then, take care.